We're Catchin Deers, and you're listening to The Gritty Bowman.
Full push, lads.
Full push.
Full pull.
Full pull.
You've been out hunting all day, and you roll into a truck stop diner. You're still in your camo duds, and the waitress comes over and says, "You been hunting?" And you say, "Yeah, I've been hunting." And she says, "Did you catch anything?" And then you laugh a little, and you say, "Nah, not yet." But you don't bother explaining that hunters don't catch deer. This little scenario has played out a million times across the civilized world. It's a universal experience that nearly every hunter can relate to. Why do people use the word caught? After all, deer hunting ain't fly fishing. There's no catch and release, and deer hunters hunt for keeps. And what's another thing? My wife still says deers with an S. No matter how many times I tell her that the plural for deer is still just deer, she can't seem to bring herself to drop the S. Did you know we also have elks where I live in Colorado? Well, today's guests are the boys from Catchin Deers. And trust me, you don't want to miss this one. These guys are the epitome of what I call the Hunting Buddy Fraternity. This podcast consists of a lot of heckling, camaraderie, trash talk, brotherhood, and laughter. My guests are Mike and Bud Fisher and Austin Casselman. We talk about how Catchin Deers got started, the many, many hours of work and in-depth planning that did not go into creating this brand. We talk hockey retirement, because apparently Mike played hockey in the NHL for 17 years, and he was kind of a big deal. Look him up, because that's probably the only way you're going to hear about it, because Mike doesn't really talk. But that's okay. His brother Bud talks enough for both of them. Austin is currently suffering from adult onset hunting syndrome. In other words, he's been newly inducted into the hunting fraternity. Ironically, he's also the person who asked, "Did y'all catch anything?" before he was a hunter, which pretty much makes him the mastermind and genius behind the Catchin Deers brand, no matter what Mike and Bud tell you. Enjoy this one, folks. And if you like what you hear, get yourself a Catchin Deers hat and shirt, and follow them on social media, and also bombard them with useless new ideas for more awesome clothing that'll keep us laughing. Here you go, guys. Here's Catchin Deers.
You know, our tagline is take your hunting seriously and take yourself lightly.
So I would say Bud's probably the best shot. Have I beat him? Yes, of course.
How did you get hooked up with these guys?
Yeah, I help a nonprofit that helps people that are lonely, and so I got paired with Mike. And, it was hard at first, but
Y'all hooked up? You want a little extra water? One of you played hockey.
It was Austin. Austin played hockey. That's right. Yeah. How did that go?
Gymnastics and ice hockey.
Gin hockey. Is that what it is?
If he
He doesn't play hockey when he says ice hockey.
Did y'all see Chance the Rapper on SNL?
Nope.
So he was he hosted it, and they had him do a skit, and it's like, we're going live and he's like replacing the guy, and he's this black guy doing the sports report on hockey. He's like, "I'm really cold." And all the guys have really long last names with no vowels. With no vowels.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Austin. It was actually Bud that he played the hockey. Yeah.
Bud, you played hockey?
You did lacrosse, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lacrosse was kind of your thing, yeah. Or cricket. Yeah, cricket was more of his game.
Played a little college hockey, and then that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
Cup of coffee in the East Coast?
Yeah, a cup of coffee. That's right. That's right. I backed up for like 3 or 4 games in the East Coast League, and then, got sent down and got a real job. And,
Incredible.
Mike's 37
you
years old,
chase
never
your
had
dreams.
a job in
Did you
his
move
life.
out of mom's basement?
No, we moved in to mom's basement.
Sometimes when you're starting businesses, you gotta make cuts.
Yeah.
Smart
make
business
sacrifices.
decisions.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Low overhead.
Folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowman podcast. We're in Indianapolis.
We're in Indy.
Indy?
Yep.
At the ATA trade show. We're over here at the Hoyt booth, and we got the guys from Catchin Deers here on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. Jordan, he knows you guys, or at least he knows you, Bud, right?
Yeah, Bud and I have run into each other a couple times.
A few times.
We've sent some DMs.
Yeah. We're cordial.
We're cordial. I mean, once we added each other,
You're not hanging out on the beach,
friends.
but you're friends.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. 60% of the time he responds to my DMs, so we're buds.
Yeah.
So I wanted to so this is going to be fun because you guys you got a pretty cool story, and you're building a brand off of something a little like out there. Okay,
Yeah.
You didn't like come out with the new Arrow Rest or the new like. No, this is unique in a different way.
Yeah.
Special. And so I wanted to get your guys' story and kind of talk about that. So
We would love to tell you the story, but I want to personally hear it from Austin's perspective.
Yes.
And I'd like to hear this version of our story.
And can you kind of do like he did on SNL? Can you just kind of do it in an announcer way?
Yeah,
like
yes.
you're announcing the play-by-play of how Catching Deers
Let's start in Kentucky in
Yeah.
15.
This started back in Kentucky of 2015.
So if you come to hunt camp and Mike has a locker room where we kind of get ready to go out, you'll have name badges and
When a hockey player hunts, you got a locker.
that's right.
That's legit, Mike.
It does not confuse anyone that my nameplate says City Slicker on my locker. I did not grow up hunting and became friends with Mike and Bud. And was late in the season, and Mike invited me up to hunt camp just to come check it out. And I walk right into the lodge, and I think they were about to go out, and I was like, "Did y'all catch anything?" And I just get all these heads staring at me. And to me, I'm thinking, I guess they had a bad hunt.
They obviously didn't catch anything.
So, Austin, you're literally asking this question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did y'all catch anything?
Yes.
And I
Now
think
he's on
they-
the hunting podcast.
and they
Folks,
didn't-
your dreams can come true.
And they didn't say anything. They didn't. They were nice to not embarrass me at that time.
Yeah.
Later at dinner, we're going around. I'm like, well, how many deers did y'all get? And at that point, Mike's like, I can't do it. Deers is not plural.
And that is
how it started.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
Yeah. So that became really a hashtag for the weekend, right? We go back and posting pictures of the guys. Mike and I had a great hunt. Mike shot it. We actually tagged out on the same day. And right, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we tagged it on the same
5:45 and 7.
Yeah, we tagged it on the same day, which is like the third day of opening weekend, and Mike shot a 162-inch 10-pointer, and I shot a 141-inch 8, both in velvet, and it was just like the greatest weekend ever, right? And
greatest
so
weekend of Catching Deers.
Of Catching Deers, exactly.
Seriously.
Exactly. We did not let them go.
What kind of nets are you guys using?
Yeah.
Well, there's a cycle, right? And there's a journey for every deer catcher, and I don't want to brag, but I'm beyond nets. I'm just chokehold them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, how do you catch them? With my bare hands.
I don't judge anyone that shoots a crossbow or uses a net, right? It's a good thing when people are out in the woods using nets.
And catching
right?
deer.
I just personally use my bare hands. But anyway, to continue this story along, we had a great hunt. Awesome. This guy got like right into bow hunting. He's like, I'm joining
He thought
you. I'm
it was
going to bow.
easy,
He
let me
thought,
tell
yeah,
you.
exactly.
Did he really?
We both tagged out.
Well, you tag out.
Yes,
and
exactly.
you walk out
Yeah,
with a bow.
This is all you have to do?
Yeah, you just show up. They walk under your tree. You shoot them. Boom. Bob's your uncle, right? So anyway, the next year we all showed up, and I brought 6 Catchin Deers foam trucker hats that Mike, the one
Is
that
this
Mike
the
has
original?
on.
Is this what started that Mike's got?
That's the OG.
Yeah,
That's the real OG.
It is
huh?
legit.
Yeah, the original
I mean,
6.
Snyder
Yeah.
has one that he
Yeah.
wears.
Yeah.
It's got a. We were in Alabama last February, a year
Last
ago.
February, yep.
Wearing Catchin Deers hats.
Yeah,
And
well, we appreciate you, Snyder.
They definitely have a. I mean, it's hard to beat. I've always been a huge trucker hat fan, and
Yeah.
the more foam, the better.
yeah.
The higher it makes your forehead look,
Yeah.
the better.
Right.
Exactly. So we the design process of the hat was phenomenal. So Austin owns a company that does private label apparel manufacturing. So I walked in the office and I said, Rachel, I need a foam trucker hat with Catchin Deers on it. She's like, okay, Catching Deer. I'm like, no. Catchin Deers with apostrophe, and she's like, I'll get a design to you tomorrow, right? So she goes, hey, how does this look? I took like one look at it, was like, it's perfect, awesome, whatever, I don't care, right? It's a joke.
It just needs to say it.
Yes. And it turns out that it's like our staple and became this thing. And so I showed up to camp with like half a dozen of them, and we thought it was hilarious and awesome, and we're like, yeah, we could do a video of like, how to catch a deer and all that kind of stuff. And then we left, and everybody was like, where did you get that hat? like funny things, 6 of them exist, right? And Austin was like, guys, I was in the airport and I had 4 people come up to me and ask me where they can get a hat. So we're like, well, let's make like a couple hundred of them and I'll do a video and we'll put it on Facebook and like it'll be fun, right?
Yeah.
Well, we did that video and we made a couple hundred hats, and we had no intention, like out of the gate, of building a lifestyle apparel
Of
brand.
course not.
Right,
this is
you know?
just
This
like,
is
oh,
just
buddies
a show.
hanging out,
Yeah, it was
catching
like
deers.
when our buddy says, hey, I want one of those hats, you can be like, yeah, we have this website that gets, every 3 days we get a hit on the website and somebody, we sell a
Right.
couple hats. So what happened, though, is that first video went viral.
4 million views.
Yeah, it's got over 4 million. But there's multiple channels now. Other channels have picked it up, and we kind of lost track. But like our Facebook page says it has 4 million views right now.
Everybody's dream is to go viral, right? I mean, and it actually happened.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing like you can't create a viral video.
No.
You can only create a video that you and your buddies think are funny, and everybody else is going to think that it's nuts or fried or ridiculous. And, it just kind of resonated with people because we knew that other people had been asked that question because we'd been asked it so many times, right? Like we left that weekend and Mike was at the rink and guys came in and asked him if he caught anything. So we're like, other people surely have had this question and we'll think it's funny. Well, it just kind of exploded, and then the demand from there, the first year was us trying to kind of keep our heads above water. People are like, we want more content and we want T-shirts and we want hoodies and we want. So
give me more.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we've been doing, and really it's broadening out now, and the brand is maturing more into. We'll always be comedy. The heart of what we do is having fun. Our tagline is "Take your hunting seriously and take yourself lightly," and that's what we want to do. And we really believe in. The hunt camp is a good time, and we enjoy. We love the pursuit. We love being outside. We love, growing big. We're Eastern guys, right? We don't do what you guys do. We love, having a farm and doing the Drury thing and putting in food plots and things like that. But we take that all super
Which
seriously.
I just caught my first deer.
Yeah.
My first whitetail.
That's right. Congratulations.
Yeah,
you were where? In Texas?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I used it was a nylon net. I'm still working on the hands thing.
Yeah, I figured
there. I'll graduate at some point.
I'll teach you. Mm-hmm. So, it's just
Makes total sense. So, question for you.
Yeah.
What is this? What is it about catching deers that resonated so well? Like, what's the psychology behind this? I'm going to go deep here.
Yeah, let's dig in. I think that first video was, first of all, the concept. Everybody's been asked that question, and I think that's what the relatability in a one-word answer. Relatability is what is kind of where people are at with their brand and why it's taken off. And that's what we strive to do in every video or piece of content that we make, is make something that is relatable for people, that they'll send their buddy, that, brings back a memory of something that's happened between two people before. Because we created that video to commemorate or, whatever the times that we had in camp.
Right.
And that's also indicative of our friends and other people that have had that experience as well. So, the vision and the mission of our company is not to sell foam trucker hats or sell flannel shirts or hoodies or vests. The mission of our company is to bring people together by celebrating the lighter side of hunting.
Yeah.
So if we celebrate hunting for what we like to experience in it, people are going to jump on board because they're like, hey, that's me. I'm the same as this, right?
Yeah.
And so we're not trying to teach anybody how to hunt better. There's people that are great at that, and I respect them for that. But if I tried to teach you how to be and run a seminar on how to be a better hunter, you're like, who is this guy and what's he doing? But my thing is to joke around with the guys, and that's me. So that's what we're doing.
I feel like, what you've done, the world at large doesn't quite speak the hunting lingo. Like, they don't get it. My wife, who love her to death, we hunt. I mean, I've been hunting since we got married. We'll be at her family's house, and she'll still be like, yeah, Brian got 2 deers. It's like, it's not deers, honey. It's deer. Yeah. And she'll still do that. And I think what that does is it's like every hunter's just like pulling their hair out because but by capitalizing on that or calling it out and making, not getting offended by it, it really builds a fraternity. Like, we're part of this group who understands that this is funny. Yeah. Like, this is not how it's done. But there's a whole world out there that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that does bring people together.
I think, to your point, every time we're at a consumer show, every time we get stopped and someone wants a hat, they don't ask for a hat. They don't say it's a cool hat. You have to wait to hear their story. With every hat comes their story of why
their
they
story
want
of
the hat.
catching deers.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
And I think
such a good point.
I think, did you catch one? Like, to your point, Austin, how come you didn't say, did you kill one?
I don't know. That's so weird, isn't it?
Right?
Nobody
People
knows.
don't like saying that.
Yeah, they don't.
I think it's Brian and I had this conversation just last night about this a little bit, and we don't need to dive too much into it. But what I love what you guys are doing, and I love that you you joke around and you say this all started on a joke, right? But as you guys, as your brand, it's become a brand. You can say that, like you have shirts, you have these things. But what I love that you said, Bud, is that you know, our mission here is to bring people together, and these shirts and hats are just byproducts. The fraternity that's being built, the community that's being cultivated through this process of individuals like Austin who come into deer camp and use terminology or words, or maybe he calls a buck a bull. You know, that's a big one. We get that. I was at camp, and I
got to broaden your product.
We've got in the West, we got elk, and so we've got guys that'll come to camp like, oh, it's a nice buck, and I'm like,
my wife.
You're not allowed to
thing.
hunt
This
that
is gonna be a
animal.
long
It's gonna
Brian
be a long hunt.
Brian has 2 bucks on the wall.
Yeah.
They're both elk.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
Look how big these bucks are.
Somebody just got a shirt idea.
But I think it's great because of social media today, you guys, like you talked about, the viralness of your video, that really kind of put you guys on the map as far as people seeing into, the way of life in which you guys do things and how you operate as individuals independently but collectively, and why this started. And the thing that I've really admired about you guys and kind of want to just commemorate you is just that you keep it light. But I think there's a lot of people out there that you speak to like, hey, I'm not an authoritative person when it comes to like speaking to these bells. Like, gosh dang it, dude, if I talked about slapping the puck, I mean, Mike here would probably slap me. And I don't know very much about hockey. And so I would never want to come off. I mean, me and him would get in a conversation. He'd probably, Jordan, we can't be friends, dude. I can tell you're trying too hard, bro. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people out there on social media that are attacking individuals and trying to even use comedy as a way to belittle others.
Right.
Yeah. And it's really kind of it's really sad.
Yeah.
But the way you guys do it is you're making light of situations, using sarcasm as a tool and a vehicle to almost bring maybe somebody who's new, like Austin was, into what we all love and feel in, like, and the name of your company will be what it'll always be, which will always be this gentle way of saying, like, Catchin Deers. Yeah, that's completely the wrong way of saying it, but
who
that's
cares?
Just, who cares?
Yeah.
I think catching deer, opposed to killing deer, is also, it's just we live in a society today where we kind of want to brush over the fact that we're actually killing an animal.
It's a more politically correct way of saying it.
Right.
Yeah. We're standing against that. We're standing up to this terrible terminology.
That's right. Yeah. I like it. I like calling it out. Like it, because what it does too is hunters acknowledge what they do. We kill animals and we eat them, right? Yeah. And this, by saying catching deers, you're kind of saying, you're calling out the fact that society at large is trying to brush over the actual like circle of life kind of stuff. So I like it.
The interesting thing for me is, I think when we first made the hats, for us it was an inside joke, and we weren't sure whether or not hunters would get it, or whether we'd need to explain the joke behind it, because we didn't know that almost every single hunter has had the same experience as us.
Yeah.
We've done trade shows. We talk about it all the time. People come up and ask us about our hats. I don't know how many thousands of times I've told the story of Catchin Deers and that's a lifestyle apparel brand and blah, blah, blah. One time I said, well, have you ever been asked if you caught anything when you were hunting? A guy looks at me in the face and goes, nope. One time.
One out of like 1,000.
One time.
He was just trying to crap in your Cheerios.
Yeah.
So I didn't. Yeah. So we didn't know that would necessarily be the case when we started, and we're finding out. Oh my gosh, everybody! This is a universal, universal experience. And so, what is kind of fun about it is that we're kind of making fun of people. But we're not making fun of hunters. We're standing as a community of hunters, and we're saying people don't get us, and that's okay, and we'll laugh at it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I think it brings people together. Question. So next thing I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted to get to know each of you, your backstory, just a little history, a little bit about you. So we could start with Bud. Like, did your parents really name you that, or is that
what your
we're
brother
going
Mike
there.
called you?
How long do we got? When you ask Bud a question,
Can we
when you
get
ask
the-
Bud a question, I'm the quiet brother over here that doesn't have as much to say. But
I was just gonna say-
Bud will just go for half an hour.
Should we have Mike? Did you know what? As I'm looking at this brotherhood right here, do you know what I see? Jordan and
Casey? Right.
Yes.
My brother is a lot like you, Mike. Quiet, reserved, and the moment you're going to speak up on this podcast, all of us are going to shut up. It's going to be legendary. It's like Mike just said that. Mike just dropped it. Literally.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. What's your backstory?
It all
you two?
started
I'm interested too.
in February of 1987.
Dang, he's got me beat by a month. 87, baby. Right on.
No, my real name's Gregory. Not too many people know that. There's 2 people on the planet that call me Gregory, but around that time there was this My Little Buddy doll that came out, and I'm the youngest of 4.
And real cute story.
It's not real. Because I was born in 74.
Answering
So
the
I'm-
question.
I'm a little, like, I remember my buddy, wherever I go.
So guess what? The youngest of 4 got called Buddy all the time.
Wow.
And so it just became Bud until every single person called me Bud, and I've been Bud ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about we found a Budweiser hat. He was probably 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And we took the Weiser off. And he just had
Yeah,
Bud
so
on one side.
My mom would not have her son wearing a beer hat, so she sat there with one of those like stitch removers for hours, taking Weiser off of the hat. Yeah, but I rocked that thing everywhere. Yeah, at the rink. We're a hockey family. We're from Canada, and at the rink wearing the Bud hat, and it was my thing.
So what's the age difference here?
7 years. I was born in 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you
The reason why he's a goaltender is because he didn't have a choice.
That's
We
right.
threw him in the net, and it was high and hard all the time.
Oh, so the
And
whole
Bud
net
would,
thing started
Bud
a
would
long
go
time
upstairs.
ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
We were shooting
It
pucks
explains-
every day in our basement. And
Yeah.
Really?
Bud would go up crying half the time. Might
Explains
hit
a
me in the
lot.
face. And-
Yeah.
So there's you
Wasn't
two, and are you the oldest?
No, we have an older brother.
Older
and then
brother?
a sister in between Bud and I, too.
Yeah.
So where in Canada?
Ontario. So we're an hour and a half northeast of Toronto. So if you look at
Okay.
Toronto, we're just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. Yeah.
It's cold.
This past week was crazy cold. I live in Ottawa now, and I'm back and forth to Nashville, Tennessee, which is where our business is out of. And it was like minus 35, minus 40 with the wind chill in Fahrenheit last week. It was so bitterly cold. It was horrible. So
Canada. It's not for me.
Yeah, I mean it's north and it's cold. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful country.
Yeah,
it's just not the kind of weather that.
I like to go hunt there in August.
Yeah,
yeah, the bugs will be
Alberta's
bad.
great in
The
August.
bugs will be bad, but it'll be good.
No, don't go in May and June.
Yeah.
So Mike, what's your story?
I grew up in the same hometown as Bud.
What
Same
year?
parents,
The year of our Lord, 1980. Did you say?
1980.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Same
Excellent.
mother, same father.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
I've lived. I left home when I was about 17, and I went up and played in Sudbury for a couple of years there. And do you want to talk about cold? That was 4 hours north of our hometown, and then
Good bear
And I
hunting.
played in Ottawa, and for about 10, 11 years, and then I've been in Nashville, I guess 7, and I just retired to run a company that Bud was struggling with.
Dude, okay. So that was going to be Brian. Brian, this is going to be my question. 'Cause I was going to ask Mike, how do you fit into this? Because I feel like Bud's just running and gunning and probably just spending money. And Mike's like, bro, I got to step in here and I got to see the books. That's why he's quiet, reserved, and like business savvy.
Well, you're feeling Casey and you again.
Oh,
like-
and that's the thing. I love this brotherhood dynamic you guys have because it correlates with me and my brother. I mean, continue though, but this is hilarious.
No, so I just recently retired this summer, and I've always loved to hunt, but I never really could hunt a lot with my season. So I hunt here and there. Unfortunately in Ottawa, I could hunt out in my backyard, and I was close to the rink, and I do it every chance I got. And, so now,
Let's not paint an inaccurate picture. So He's like, I didn't get to hunt a lot, but like the last 3 years, I shot a 196, 162. I mean, it was okay.
It was just another day. I was just
during the lockout, I hunted a lot.
Oh, that's right. Okay, during the lockout.
That's when I got a big deer. But it's one of those things that I've always loved to do.
So are you guys competitive?
Yes. Yeah. And then here's what Mike is not saying. So if like a camera, you got mics on, he doesn't say what he's thinking. You ask, are you competitive? He's like, but tries to be. Like, let's just call it like it is.
I can just see Mike every once in a while as you're doing something, buddy. He just kind of goes, "That's cute, little buddy." Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, that. I got like a 180. What was that? That's 140. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we are, but it's all good. But
Where do you guys mostly whitetail hunt?
We hunted Ontario, of course, growing up, and when Mike was in Ottawa, he had some acreage there that we would hunt. It was it was close to town, but it was actually tough. It's tough hunting there, but it's pretty good hunting at times. And
tougher, bud.
He's opening up, folks. Exactly. He's opening up. Here we go.
Let's
Mike's just tapped in.
Okay.
Dude, you guys are great.
Oh man. So, but right now, the majority of our home base in terms of hunting is Mike's farm in Kentucky.
Okay.
Is kind of where opening weekend we look forward to every year in Kentucky, and there's a camp there we go up to with the lads, and we hunt the evenings there. We don't hunt mornings there because we don't want to. It's early. We don't want to pressure them and bump them off the fields. We hunt food sources and things like that in Kentucky. So, but I mean, all over. I hunted Ontario, not for deer, for waterfowl mostly this year, and hunted in Ohio.
I think I got a new brand for you guys. Catching ducks.
We have.
We've got a couple catching ducks.
I mean, anything, just throw it after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This one will go really good. Duck? Catching bears.
Catching bears
with my bare hands. 1987.
I like it.
Wow.
Like it. Yeah, for sure. So yeah.
Have you guys elk hunted?
No.
Mike?
No.
Are you guys serious?
And here's why.
I haven't done any.
Tell me why.
Because
I was always training in that was kind of just
in September. Yeah, okay.
So training camp was September, and then
what's Bud's excuse?
But I went away.
Can't afford it.
Cool trip is grizzly bear hunt. That was the only one I've done.
Oh, wow.
Kind of an adventure hunt. Yeah,
Alaska.
Yeah. That was kind of more in August where
Was that during the lockout?
No, it wasn't actually. I took a week off training, but I was still somewhat active.
You were
chasing bear.
Dude, you were still
my
training.
Bare hands.
Yeah.
So, but you haven't elk hunted.
No, so that's a we call it bucket list. That's on the list for us to do, certainly. But I've had I've had invites to go on elk hunt, but elk hunting for me is something that I wanted to do with Mike when he retired. We both go on our first elk hunt because I think it's going to be one of those experiences for us, your first elk hunt, that's going to kind of blow your mind. And that was something that we're brothers, but we're hunting buddies, and I wanted to experience that together.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, yeah.
You know what, I think it's interesting because I've gone and done whitetail. I've been on 3 whitetail hunts. Mm-hmm. One last year. Well, all 3 were actually 2017.
Yeah.
But it's been a blast. Like
whitetail hunting is fun.
It is awesome. And I, coming from the West, we kind of made fun of it. But after doing it, now it's like a mild little addiction. Like I can't wait. It's
right?
so
it's
fun.
So different. Yeah.
It is.
It's so different, but I think it kind of goes back to your guys' theory of like just everybody coming together. Like at the end of the day, I'll be the first one to say, like I sat there and I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are just sitting in stands and waiting for these, these bulls to come by.
They're just going to walk
big
by.
these big old does to come by. No, and for a long time, and I still remember when I was on an elk hunt, I had drew a pretty coveted tag. I started to immediately have so much respect as I was sitting in that tree stand. I remember I'm just sitting there going, "This is not easy." Like, because I'm a run and gun guy. It's a mental thing that you really have to exert yourself in. And so we joke about it, the guys from the West and the East, but I can't wait for you guys to experience.
A different kind of.
But it's hunting. That's the thing for me is it's like that whitetail hunt I went on was just that. It was hunting. It was we were at camp with friends. I went with Levi Morgan. We had such a great time together, and I learned how to.
The thing is it's actually when I was in Texas with Sloan, we did spot and stalk.
On whitetail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the country's conducive to
Yeah.
it, and I think the idea that, and Sloan had never had tried it on the property. And I've been hunting Alberta for mule deer, and I see this country, I'm like, we need to get someplace where we can glass, put a deer to bed, and sneak up on it.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
And we did, but it was whitetail, and it was fun, man. I think it goes both ways. You can use tree stands for elk, and it's highly effective.
And that's what you're seeing in the West.
You're
a lot of
starting to see
guys are using tree stands.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They're finding those pinch points.
Yeah.
They're finding the trails. And instead of the spot and stock, a lot of hunters, not every hunter, but in early season situations, they're either setting up on water or they're setting up on these game trails where they can intercept elk and deer, and they're using stands.
And I think a lot of guys on the east side are starting to employ more Western style stuff because they've tried it here and they're like, hey, I snuck up on this mule deer.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it on a whitetail?
I've done that once on a whitetail, and it was the smallest deer I've ever shot, and the deer that I'm most proud of shooting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sure. Yeah.
We've got this. I can go on a rant here, but we've got this fixation on big deer, and I think that the deer and the trophy to me represents an experience, and the size of the antlers doesn't determine that experience. And so for me, that deer, so I was going to sit in a ground blind, and it was snowing, and it was November, and it was the middle of the rut, and the terrain was conducive to be able to have this spot and stock, and I spotted a doe and saw antlers behind, and went and sat in the blind and tried to call the deer in, the buck, and I was like, this buck is not moving. He's on a hot doe. And so I got down and I army crawled, and this is the coolest thing that's ever happened in a hunting situation for me. But I got to within 80 yards of that buck with that doe, and the buck mounted the doe. And I was like, now's my chance. And I was army crawling through the brush to get as close as I could. And then I tell the story.
You pervert.
And I'm like, now's my chance.
Now I understand.
He's distracted.
How he caught it with his bare hands.
He's
easy when he's distracted, bud. Good night, man. That is awesome. Did you film this?
No.
Oh my goodness, that would have gone viral.
That is creepy. But got to within 50, and then I was polite, and everything was all done and
cordial.
Yeah, cordial.
Before you did a full send.
His genes are moving into the future.
Yeah,
you can.
Yep, exactly. And then I just said, "Are you silly? I'm still going to send."
Yeah, I was literally going to next time and say, Bud's sitting there and Joe's mounting it, and then gets off and says, "You guys silly? I'm still going to send it." Full send. Yep, got him. Another day, another bear.
Yeah.
So you caught him.
So there's an appreciation for you too, just vice versa.
Yes,
I can't wait for the two of you to. And Austin, I'm pretty sure you probably have some aspirations to go on an elk hunt as well.
Oh, I'd
It's
love
right
it.
up Austin's alley because he cannot sit still.
Okay, you and I would probably be in the blind together.
Like it is. Yeah.
Austin and I would probably be in the blind together, figuring out a plan of how to get out of this thing and go kill stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for each of you to catch your first elk.
So
Excited about it.
That's
I'm
gonna be
curious.
awesome.
So Austin, what's your backstory? So,
because you come from a background, it sounds like of not being in hunting,
yeah,
being introduced to it through Mike
how
and
did
Bud.
your story, but also how did you get hooked up with these guys?
Yeah.
I help a nonprofit that helps people
Move that mic in real close.
I help a nonprofit that helps people that are lonely, and so I got paired with Mike. It was hard at first, but quickly realized that he had potential.
Yeah.
I did not grow up hunting. We grew up in the city and loved sports and played the sports, but hunting was not anything. And we had a couple of guys that did it growing up, and it was just kind of their thing. Nashville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it just wasn't. Just never did it.
Yeah.
And at some point too, you do move on, and you kind of feel like it's too late. Like I didn't grow up that way, so I can never go do it. Mm-hmm. And so I met Mike and through a mutual friend, and he was talking about it. And I think that's the biggest thing, guys, is whether you're new or been doing it for a while, is we joke about we want to kill something big, but everything that's come from hunting is what I enjoy. I mean, learning about the land management and the food sources and what we're going to do different next year versus this year, and it is just so intriguing. And then looking at, we do joke, I am a run and gun. I just fly. I've never had a sip of coffee in my life because I don't need it. But you get me during rut and you're in that stand. Mountain ups.
Look, he's already down. I think what he did is he pixie sticked it and then he drank. It's the other way, bro.
This segment's sponsored by Mountain Ups. But during rut and you're in that stand and there's something that does happen to you when you just stay focused and stay still. And and it was funny. We talk about well, this is easy. All you have to do is this. First day, Mike's like, hey, why don't you get a doe first? I'm like, great. First day of opening season, smoke a doe. I'm like, this is amazing. God, I'm thinking,
couldn't ask for a more perfect shot.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a more perfect shot. Just dropped her like 60 yards in her tracks. And we
do have that doe mounted in our cabin.
Are you serious?
So just the ears, with Austin's deer.
You can buy those. You can buy those. Rack kits that you can just like stick the antlers in.
Oh,
so we bought one of those, or we had one of those already. And we took the ears off of decoys and stuck them in. So we just got
her name's Helen. You look like a Helen. And so you think, and of course with Kentucky it's one and done. And my wife's like, how'd you do? And you're like, if you tell her I got it, well, why don't you go ahead and come back home? And so I'm nervous.
This is some wisdom for everybody listening. Please,
guys,
listen.
Be careful. And I'm thinking, day 2 opening season, I'm done. This is not going to be good. So I'm kind of praying the second day, like, hey, God, let me just experience. No bucks come out. Just want to relax. Still don't have a buck. And it's been awesome. And the travel of what you said, Kentucky's been different than Missouri. Missouri is different than Ohio. Ohio is different than it's just everything is just different. And so to go out west and will just be a dream to experience that as well.
And I think the overtone that I'm kind of hearing from everyone that I love is just simply that it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you're pursuing. It's just the fact that we're all hunting, we're all together, we're a community of people that have. And I mean, we're at this show, and every single person here. And I heard the comment from Jim Shockey. He says, "This is my favorite show." He said, "Why is it your favorite show?" He says, "Because every single person here is a hunter." Yeah. He goes to other shows and SHOT Show. Not everybody's a hunter there.
Yeah.
And that's what is really cool about this community, and what is really cool about you being your backstory of obviously becoming friends with Mike and Bud and being introduced to it. You've got a doe under your belt. You've caught a doe.
I've caught a doe,
which is great. So you're still pursuing catching that buck. But I think it's really important that what you guys are doing is accomplishing that. I feel like what you guys are doing, and Brian, you speak to this, but I feel like what you're doing is accomplishing that. I mean, this is an immediate friend, but I think you guys are affecting people that in a comedic way are being introduced to our sport and maybe being connected and finding people that can do what these gentlemen have done for you, which is, like you said, has become everything to you. Some of the best.
Right.
Deer camp has become a big part of your life. Memories have been made, and they're moments that you cherish.
I think, from my experience in looking at, why do I love to hunt? There's 1,000 reasons, and I love sitting still in a tree stand, and for me, that's time, to spend with God and, and to reflect. And I think that, our devices are, not great for us. We need to have that time to sit still and to, you know what I mean?
Just
all of
still.
Those things.
Yeah.
But the
Be
number
still and know
one,
that I'm God.
Yeah, that's right. So the number one thing for me that I think of, though, when I think of hunting is, in my lifestyle, in all of my friends, hunting is a conduit to my relationships. Like Mike and I are and Austin and all the guys are texting constantly, what's on the cameras right now? And hey, I might be able to, go and hunt in Kansas next year. You guys interested in doing elk hunt? All this stuff is, not that hunting is not central to our relationships, but hunting is one of those conduits that we talk about and that we experience together. And when you have those experiences, your relationships grow closer together. So hunting being a conduit to our relationships that helps us to experience life together and, challenges together and highs together, all that stuff. That's what it represents to us. We want to create a brand and create content that reflects that to other people as well, right? That allows that content. We launched, we put a meme out yesterday on our Facebook and our Instagram, and it's Steve Carell winking and giving the little point at the camera, and the meme says, "When your buddy hunts one day and shoots your buck." right? and what happens? That's happened to thousands of people, and they just go and they send it to their buddies, and then you see the comments back and forth, and they're like, you know, bucks don't have name tags, bro, and you know, sorry, I didn't know it was your buck, and all this. And what is it? That little piece of content is bringing people together for a laugh, and it's sharing in their experience, and that's what's really cool about it.
Yeah, the terminology you use, conduit. The first film I did with Gritty Bowman was it's called "It's Not About the Horns," and it's my buddy and his dad elk hunting. And in a candid interview, we recorded this interview as part of the film, and I'm just asking him questions off camera, and he's responding on camera, and he's like, and he said, you know, hunting is a conduit for my dad and I for our relationship, and I'd never heard that phrase or that idea before in that way. And it really is. He's like, we don't have a lot in common, my dad and I. Like, we couldn't be more opposite in so many ways. But hunting brings us together. It's like that one thing that really forges a strong relationship. And you got to wonder, like, you know, we're all here because our ancestors hunted, right? It's like in our DNA. Yeah. You go out and you do that. It's got to have strength of familial bonds and friendships and stuff in a way. Like I always say, if I go hunting with someone, we're like friends for life. Yeah. Or we're enemies for life. Like
it's going to go one of two ways.
Yeah. Like 100%. I can be like, we cannot be friends anymore.
Right.
But generally it's the other way. I had another question, not to pit you guys against each other, but I do want to do that. So you're shooting Hoyt?
Yes.
And so who among you is the best shot in a like a competition target situation?
Yeah, if you guys,
I think we can all agree.
Let me answer.
I think we can all agree.
Oh, Mike. Yeah.
I will say one thing. Austin, who's new to bow hunting, I think he's gonna be a great hunter because he's really patient.
Yeah.
My worst enemy is being patient because in hockey and playing, it's like everything
aggressive.
happens quick, aggressive.
You're constantly attacking.
Boom, 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 boom. My hardest thing is just relax, relax. And I wasn't. And even as a player, I wasn't really a patient player. I was just a go. So that's my biggest thing. Bud, I would say he shot definitely the most out of all of us. He's shot more than us combined. He shoots all the time. So I would say Bud's probably the best shot. Have I beat him? Yes, of course.
Okay, so hang on. So of the shooters, so you got okay, so shooting at a target, though, is different than shooting at an animal.
True. Yeah.
So who's the better target? Who's the better animal? Like,
I'm just going to say on the animal, I'm 100%.
I'm just something that Mike.
That's why I say
go
Austin,
down.
Austin,
60 yards.
Yes.
He couldn't ask for a better shot.
He hasn't had a big buck where he's been able to shoot yet, too.
That's
so
right.
We'll see
that's
how
right.
he.
True.
But I did miss a deer last week, but I wanted to let him go for Austin.
Yeah. You can tell that story. Yeah. So there we go.
No, to be honest, I mean, I would say, and I've seen some of the best shoot. I mean, Bud's pretty incredible shot. Yeah.
Nice. But he hasn't shot a 180. What?
Yeah. No.
You can be the best
at a
shot,
target,
but you just haven't.
Yeah.
You know, it's the
Mike,
whole.
You don't have that horseshoe crammed up your. I mean.
I can answer this unequivocally with traditional gear. I am the best shot because I'm the only one out of these two that shoots trad. So,
you do trad life?
Yeah,
right on, dude.
Yeah.
You and Matt Davis. Matt's teaching me what the trad life is.
I keep
all
talking
about.
I keep talking about how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
and then I don't.
So I haven't killed anything with the trad. I started 2 years ago. No. But here's what I do, and I'm excited to do it again this year. Is I like spring bear hunting in Ontario, and I like sitting on the ground with a trad bow. And there's nothing gets your heart pumping. Now I haven't heard an elk scream at 7 yards and Utah, but sitting on the ground with a mature boar at 10 yards with a stick and string in your hand gets the heart going pretty good. So I enjoy that in the spring, and then when I'm deer hunting, I use a Hoyt.
Use the wheels.
Or I use the
nice
the carbon.
Have you guys had an opportunity to shoot that new carbon RX1 yet, or the Redworks?
Oh,
I have.
Yeah, they're nice, aren't they?
They're nice. Okay. What is he?
No, I've just heard they're really nice.
They look really nice, don't
That's
they?
a sore spot.
I love it,
dude. You guys have been honestly. You guys have been so much fun.
I'm glad you joined us today.
Yes,
and for folks who want to get a Catchin Deers hat, some apparel, where do they look you up?
It's catchindeers.com. So CATCHIN, no G.
Okay.
That'd be That'd be accurate. And then deers.com. And then we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Catchin Deers and Instagram at Catchin Deers.
Well, I'm really
Catchin
happy
Deers.
to know that Mike is at the helm.
Yeah.
The CEO. I
feel
feel like your future is bright, bud. I think these viral videos
More
gonna last for
comfort.
there's more. I think you guys are positioned for some great success. I mean, he's willing to leave his full-time job,
Right.
to come do this with you and save you.
Pay cut.
Yeah,
to
I
sell
need
hats.
a significant pay cut. You're probably, I would say, Mike's probably living poverty right now. But because he loves his brother in Austin, he's going to do this. Guys, you guys have
true
been.
love.
Yeah.
This has been a really fun conversation, and like I said, guys, everybody listening to the podcast today, please go check out Catchin Deers. It's worth your time, and if you ever need to get away from reality for a second and laugh, these are the guys to follow and do that. So thank you again,
Appreciate
guys, for
you
being on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks,
Stay
guys.
gritty, guys.
All
Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place and time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself. What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.
And while you're at it, could you grab me a chapstick? My lips hurt real bad.
Don't be jealous of me because I've been chatting online with babes all day, okay? Her name's Sandy. She's got sandy blonde hair, blue eyes.
It's getting pretty serious.
It's getting pretty serious. I guess you could say things are getting pretty serious.
What was her name? Rolanda?
LaFonda.
LaFonda, dude. Yeah. So best part about that show, right, is I know I actually went to school with the now it's leaving my mind. The main character, Napoleon.
You did?
Yeah. And dude, it's just all those guys in that show are small town guys.
Yeah.
What?
And they produced that show in Boise, Idaho.
I think we're all good.
No.
Yeah, I heard Mike's.
I'm pretty sure
earlier.
my favorite's Kip.
Yeah. Kip's the best.
But
if
Uncle.
I could have thrown that a quarter mile.
Yeah.
If I was in the game, we'd have took state.
Back in my prime, I could throw a pigskin quarter mile.
Yeah.
See them there mountains?
The best is when he grabs a steak from his plate and just like sidearms it and knocks him off the bike.
I love when he's selling Tupperware. He's selling Tupperware. He's like, this stuff's indestructible. And he drives out and he drives over it with a van and smashes it and just goes, dang it, and drives away.
Napoleon Dynamite, one of the greatest movies of all time.
I told you my wife's cousin produced it. It's a small world, huh?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What?
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
You went to high school.
There's all, dude.
Wow.
Well, we are.
Napoleon-
It is sort of Mormonish. Like
Okay.
there's a heavy influence
Yes.
there. And
We both looked at you like,
Jordan and I hail from that background. So.
We hail from the Mormonish in the background. We're just posing for the camera. Selfie or I guess Insta approved.
clench the jaws, guys. Mean mug 'em.
You guys have some serious jaws.
It's like
chiseled.
Like Michelangelo himself. Hands on those.
Seriously.
Holy cow. I feel like I'm,
you look a little soft and weak next to.
That's why I got to do the beard when I'm next to Mike. I mean, he just puts scuff on and it's.
Good?
Perfect.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.